Hey, wake up, world. It's time for a little bit of coffee.
Little bit of coffee, a little bit of fun. Kicking off the day, everybody come. Perk up your ears, hear the latest buzz. Grab your mug, join the morning fuss.
So grab your Joe and let's go.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I am your host, P.O.D., with my sidekick best friend, Mr. Phoenix. Welcome also our co-host, also our best friend, Mr. Pappy.
Hey.
And filling in for Vinny this week, the one, the only shortcut, J.D. Hitchcock. Welcome, everybody. How are we?
Good morning.
We are well.
Goodness.
What a great Pledge of Allegiance.
What? You know, I must brag a little. That was my nephew. When we asked if people would start sending in videos, my nephew stepped up right away and went to his grandmother, my sister. I got a lot of other names I call her, but she doesn't like them. You know, that brother sister feud thing going. You know, but so she's watching. I had to say that, just torment her a little bit.
That's
her
all.
grandson.
That's typical family, sure.
Yeah, yep. That's her grandson, my nephew Damien. And earlier, before we came on the air, I was speaking about him, and I said, you know, he's one of those kids that sends me a text every once in a while just to remind me, hey, I love you, and sends me silly videos, and I love.
That's really cool.
That is cool. It's cool to have a relationship like that with the nephew.
So, how was you guys' last week? I mean, anything phenomenal happened?
Other than I'm living every life with my boo every day, I love it. No, that's been great.
Miss Diane?
That is correct, Miss Diane.
Well, we'll have a lot of fun on the Valentine's episode talking about that, won't we?
Oh, I hope so.
Granddaughter had a birthday.
Oh, excellent.
Your granddaughter had a birthday? How old is she?
9.
Yeah, my niece just in the last few weeks, Everly, that came on here when we were beginning the podcast program, turned 9, I believe, as well.
You want to hear something funny?
Yeah, sure.
They went to my daughter went to cut the cake because she forgot a knife because she's scatterbrained.
Okay.
Anyway, she went to cut the cake and she tried cutting it with the back of the fork, couldn't do it. So then she ended up grabbing a popsicle stick and trying to cut the cake that way, and it just crumbled to pieces.
Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. Well, I'd like our fans to just take a moment and recognize our missing guest, Vinny. I'm looking, but I brought a photo of him up that I wanted to share.
He was at the very beginning.
For those of you that's never met our friend Vinny, he is a wonderful, wonderful guy. And
he was the very first person you saw in the video. The very first person you saw in the video, right there.
There's Vinny.
And currently, he has been hospitalized. He's ill, and his family. And I'm going to share this with you all today. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but he could sure use some well wishes and prayers and whatever your beliefs are. He's one of our very best friends, and when he gets on here, I'm going to get tons and tons of hate mail for the way that I torment him. I have no doubt in my mind. But he torments back, and well, I always tell everybody he starts it because I think I'm an angel. So,
with
that being said,
Vinny's the guy that calls you out, man.
He's what?
Vinny's the one guy that calls you out.
Yeah. He does.
Yeah.
I can't even disagree.
That was a funny joke, though. POD, an angel?
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, I am an angel. I am an angel. There I am. Did I disappear on y'all?
And who's heaven?
No.
Oh, you're there.
Okay, because you all disappeared on me for just a second. So, now, what do we got coming up? We got anything else big? I knew there were a few things I wanted to discuss. Of course, then you get in here and it's this early, and coffee hasn't quite kicked in yet, so you
Exactly.
get all
Got
this
it.
stuff.
A little bit of coffee right here.
A little bit of coffee.
Hey, I got a little bit of coffee talk. I received and do. If any of you have ever tried or not tried mushroom coffee,
Oh yeah.
I recently tried it by itself. I cannot lie, I did not like it by itself. But then when I put the same amount on top of a regular cup of coffee, just took a scoop of it, put it in my regular coffee, couldn't really taste it that much. Well, they sent me one as a giveaway.
Right.
So, Rise Mushroom Coffee. Over the next couple of weeks, I'm gonna just build that up, and then but they're pretty salty in the price, and
You think
but
it'll
I
help you
won't lie,
grow?
they when I've drank it, it really has helped me feel like I was more focused.
It gives you more
It
energy.
does. Yeah. So here in a couple weeks, I think I'm going to do some kind of giveaway with a Rise Coffee, a month supply. So for any of you that would like to try it, we'll come up with some kind of contest or something as a giveaway. But hey, before we go to our first commercial, I would like to ask each of you that are possibly and currently watching just to share our page. Take a moment,
Yeah,
just share our
just
page.
say hi or something. Just let us know you're out there.
Let's get out there. Okay.
All
All right. Let's go to our first commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna have a new little segment that we do, a little entertainment segment talking about various shows on TV. We'll be back.
All right. See you in a bit.
Hey guys, it's your boy Vinny MG coming at you live. When I'm not torturing or tormenting POD, I'm on here checking out all the cool content that me and my 3 brothers put up on this platform. Come and check this out. The show is called A Little Bit of Coffee. You can like, share, and subscribe for more content in the future. Alright? So don't forget, grab your Joe and let's go.
This next segment, it's new for us. DJ Pappy came at me and said, "Man, let's get my brother in here. The Maverick. This guy's wild and crazy. Tell us all about him there a little bit."
Yeah, POD. My brother Maverick, he loves to watch TV. He loves to get into movies. He likes to he's very, very educated on movies and TV shows. He just has a great hobby. He
So we're just
likes
going to
to
get into a
collect
discussion
movies.
about a couple shows today.
Sure, he's going to tell us what's hot, what's not, and he's got it all. So I'm going to introduce you for the very first time to my brother Maverick.
What's up, Maverick?
Hey, brother.
Morning, everybody. This is Maverick. Just flew in to do this little spot for my big little brother.
What's hot, what's not? Well, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks
Welcome.
for having me here for the first time.
Sure. Hey,
let's
tell us
just-
a little bit about where it is your first time. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, let's see here. I've been a big movie and TV fan since I was a kid or a teenager. And when I literally started collecting like DVDs and like TV series box sets in my early 20s. And I've had over 500 VHS tapes at one time in my collection. No joke.
Okay,
Let me interrupt
real quick.
you
I got to
real
ask
quick.
you.
Go ahead, Mr. Phoenix.
I got a question. So, did you get into movies when it was beta?
Not that. I was strictly VHS and proceeded to go to DVD, Blu-ray, and now 4K. I've watched Lost, the whole series, at least 6 times. I even have the whole series of Game of Thrones. I've watched that at least 8 or 9 times through and
I
through.
have never watched that show.
I've
Game of
never
Thrones?
watched Game of Thrones either, and I'm always being talked about because of Tyrion.
Yep. I don't know if I remember telling you about this. I was a flight attendant for 12 years, based in Cincinnati for Delta, Comair, and based in Cincinnati. And I used to fly in and out of LaGuardia Airport in New York, obviously, all the time. And one day after I had like waiting for my plane to come in, I was in the food court while walking back into the concourse.
Yes,
Lo
sir.
and behold, who do I see? Tyrion sitting in a chair, waiting for a flight.
Yeah.
So what do? I just walk
was
right
it?
up to him.
Who was it,
And
sir?
Peter Dinklage.
Peter Dinklage.
No kidding. What an honor. Continue.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And I told him I'm a big fan, and I mentioned that my brother was a little person as well, and I pulled out a picture of him and his daughter when he was playing an elf, and he was like, "Wow, that's awesome." The nicest, very nice guy. We talked for about a minute. Yeah,
That's cool.
I had never gotten the honor of meeting Billy Barty, but he was always the one that I always wanted to meet. And I did a small part in a underground movie in LA one time, and I got to meet one of his very best friends.
I met Billy Barty.
Did you? And the
Yes,
apartment they put me in, she was right across, and she invited me over for tea. I did not realize Billy Barty was really from England or over there.
I didn't realize that either.
Yes, he
Okay.
is. He was born. Yeah, he was born over there. Yeah.
I knew that. Nice
had
guy.
Some of the most wonderful stories about him.
I met him in 1976.
All right, so let's get back
What are
to
we
the
going to
segment.
discuss today? What show are we going to discuss today, Maverick?
Well, first off, I want to talk about the TV series, which is on Paramount Plus, Landman. This story is so well written, and the actors are impeccable. We got some heavy hitters in there for celebrities, such as main character Billy Bob Thornton. He plays the Landman. He's the guy who is the middle guy who talks to and handles any pertinent situations on the site, and he talks to the owner of all the properties, and that's going to be John Hamm. He plays this billionaire who invests a ton of money and all these properties, and it shows his stress that he goes through. And he actually, in this latest episode, this past Sunday, he had his like fourth bypass. He's like, his heart. He's so stressed out, he has heart attacks. And
now, in the world of this Landman, I've seen the advertisement. I have not watched any of it. How would you compare? Because I have watched the Yellowstone series, with the exception of the last two episodes. So I'd like to ask, so in comparison to Yellowstone, would you consider it a better series, or would you consider it a almost as good or not quite as good? What would you say there?
Well, like anything, everybody has their own how they rate movies and their perception of what interests them. Personally, I feel that Landman is as good, if not better, than Yellowstone.
That's
so
interesting.
Very
what
good.
makes it better?
I'm gonna say the plot line, the actors in the show. It is at times it surprises you. You could think you just watching just a normal type of scene, and boom, something happens, and it's dramatic. Like an explosion, people getting killed by freak accidents while working on the oil field.
So in other words, the would you say the series brings out the danger and more prevalent in the oil business?
100% for sure.
Okay, interesting.
Okay.
That is interesting.
Okay.
Yeah,
I've watched like 3 episodes of that, And I find it's very, very good, and I'm looking forward to continuing. I just
Well-
wanted to get through Yellowstone first.
For guys like myself, what I find interesting listening about it is, in the back of my mind, I think of the oil business, and you're just sitting back here and you're pushing a button for the oil rigs or whatever. And what few commercials I've seen on this series, Landman, I have I can tell it seems like it's a hard job, and there's a lot of cutthroat things going on within the business. I don't know. Again, I haven't watched any episodes yet, but now you've at least interested me too.
Yeah.
I wonder if it was like that back in the day
Like
on
what?
Yellowstone. On how like crooked and somebody caused some problems with the family, so they took you out back and just basically beat the crap out of you and shot you. I wonder if that was the way it was back in the day.
Taking people to the train station.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that took a twist turn there from Landman, but Landmine, or what is the name of that show again?
Landman.
Landman.
Now
I've called it Land Everything But Man.
Yeah, landscape, what have you, right? Well, to answer the other gentleman's question about what happened prior to, Yellowstone, Taylor Sheridan actually, he actually has two other programs or prequels. One is called with 1923 with Harrison Ford.
Excellent show.
And
Excellent
Mirren,
show. Helen Mirren.
Helen Mirren, yeah. Man, I'm telling you, she's well in her 70s, and Harrison Ford's in his 70s. And
I know who you're talking about, yeah.
And the show, I'm telling you, it's such a great program.
It's a great program. I agree with you, Maverick.
So, as a wrap up for this spot, you would say, scale of 1 to 10, what would you give Landman to watch and get into?
I'd say definitely 9. Going into a 10 for sure.
It appears Pappy's very
up.
familiar with it. Yeah.
Yes, I would agree.
Familiar with it. Would you also give it a 9, 10?
I would. I would agree with Maverick right there. 9, 10 is a great show.
What about this 1923 series? Because I have seen it advertised a few times.
Absolutely 9, 10. 9, 10 there. I like it probably better than Yellowstone. It was. It was.
I'm a big fan of the Yellowstone.
I don't know about that, my brother. I would say it was great, but I think Yellowstone's better.
I like the other one before that, 1863, is it?
Yes, that was. I'm hoping this. I can't wait to see the next season.
Yes, me too. 1863 was really, that was the prequel. It was so good.
Maverick, I'd like to invite you back to the show each and every week and come in with some new stuff for us to watch, new updates on shows that are the popular hits right now, what's hot and what's not.
Sure. I would love to.
I would love to have you back.
So I'll tell you what, next week that I watched just last night with Kevin Costner, it's called Horizon, the American Saga. I think it's a great time, y'all.
Guys, you Maverick. Fly out. We'll see you next week, Maverick.
Take care. Over and out.
All right.
Just one other thing, since we're into entertainment right now, I just think that we
Mics.
Welcome. There we go.
Got some muted mics.
Hey, how are we?
We're back.
We are back.
A fun little piece.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Maverick was a
Like
interesting guy, man. I think we're gonna start having him have a lot more to do with the show, if possible.
Right. I think
That's
so.
my idea for him.
I think if we want to have him involved and you have certain movies or any other shows you want him to discuss with us, have him mail it right here to the microbrothersunited@gmail.com. and we'll get that to him, and he can watch your show and maybe make a comment. Or if you have comments about what he has said, we'd like to have you email us right there.
But not just that. This is a growing show, as everybody knows, man. We got people that's got ideas out there, man. If you got an idea you want to throw into the show, man, we're eventually going to extend the length of it as the show grows. So we want to hear from you, man. Email us at our email, or find us on any social media there through our link tree.
Sure.
But yeah, take those down and throw us your ideas and your thoughts.
I'm having,
man, guys, I got to tell you on this next piece. This next piece I am so excited about. I have a guest that I've invited to the show, and he and I have known each other for so long. I don't even have a guess of how many years it's been, to be honest with you. When I got into the pro wrestling business, he was one that helped me along the way learn, for lack of a better word, class. You know, you come in and you're young and you go to these events and you see the guys that you grew up watching pro wrestling, these events, and don't realize you're being a fan and making yourself look immature and etc. And he was a great friend, great asset in my entertainment career. Getting ready to retire from pro wrestling, and here sometime back he got World Strongman contest. So please welcome to the show, my friend, one of my very close friends, by the way, the Navajo Warrior, Steve Islam.
Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing?
What's up, buddy?
Oh, just kicking it early in the morning.
Kicking it very early in the morning where you are. Thank you for getting up so early for it, bud.
Oh, this is normal for me. I'm usually up. We're training at 4 a.m. out here, so it's.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's a good time.
I need to feel warm right now, so I gotta ask you, what's the temperature out there in Phoenix right now?
Right now, it's cold. Well, for us,
it's cold.
Right now, it is in where I live in Santan Valley. It is a nice, cool 29 degrees.
Wow. 29 degrees.
Oh, 29. Wow.
Here in Indiana, I'm going to be nice. I'm just going to say it's not 29 degrees.
Well, yeah, we get that desert air, so in the morning it gets really cold, and then the evenings it starts to cool down. But during the day, we've been getting around the 70s, like low 70s, which is nice.
Let's play a game, Steve. Under the table, I'm holding up a finger. Guess which one it is.
Well, I've got to say I've got you beat. It's 55 here.
It's a balmy 11 where I am.
Oof.
I'm not sure what it is, but it's very cold here. I'm going to go with that. So, 36. My friend, first.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on this pro wrestling career.
Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I hate to hear that you were hanging up the boots, but we get there, don't we?
We do. We get there. It's time. This year will be 35 years.
That was the next question. How many years?
God bless you, Navajo.
Yeah. So.
I remember when we would hang out, we would talk a lot about our Gator Wolf days, and we'll get into those, of course, as we continue. But who was your original trainer, Navajo?
Actually, my original trainer was Steve Gatorwolf. He started training me in 1990. Yes, sir.
Every time he would say that, of course, Gator loved to tell us things that they were great stories. Let's say that.
Yes, he was a great storyteller.
He was. I miss him dearly, though. Gosh, do I miss him dearly. But I remember at one point him telling me that he had trained you. And again, wasn't sure if we'd mess with him, Let's see. What else did you guys have any questions for him? Everybody went silent on me.
Yeah, I just want to know how you even got into the wrestling career. What made you decide that?
All right. Well, so as a kid, I was always into comic books and superheroes, things like that. So when I discovered professional wrestling on television, to me it was like seeing real life superheroes. I was like, whoa, these are real people, and so that's what hooked me on wrestling. And then when I was about 13, I went to my first live wrestling event, and So the AWA came to Arizona, and they had a big battle royal as their main event. So you had Andre the Giant there, you had Jesse the Body Ventura, a lot of the big names of that time, and then there was Hulk Hogan, who was doing a body slam challenge match, and when I the Tiger came on, we got the music started playing, and the building just like everyone was on their feet, and that's when I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, And
I'm a Hulkamaniac.
Yeah, Hulkamania,
Yeah, man.
So,
and you know what I admire most about you, Steven? You're one of the few guys out there that can admit, hey, man, Hulkamania was part of what made me a wrestler.
Definitely it is, and I'm not ashamed of it.
I'm not either. I fact, one of my funny wrestling stories. Our mutual friend Ace and I were in a conversation one day, and he was such an ECW fan, and he looks at me one time and he says, "Man, you will never guess who came to ECW last night." just to see what his reaction would be. Hulk Hogan? he looked at me with such disgust. He's like, "You ever say that again?" I won't tell you what he said after that. Ace. So.
Yes, sir.
Right.
But anyway, that's what got me interested in it. Wanting to become a professional wrestler. But so all through junior high school, I'm doing what I think I need to do to be a pro wrestler, because back then there were no wrestling schools really, or there was no internet for sure. So it was like trying to figure out, how do I do this?
Right.
And so wrestled in junior high, wrestled in high school, played football. All the sports that I could, just try to get myself on that path.
Right.
And then
who was your ultimate idol in the wrestling that really got you hit?
Oh, it was Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan, yeah.
Yeah, it was just when I saw him live that first time, it was crazy, because I'd seen him in the movies, seen him on television, saw him in Rocky III, but experience it live, it's completely different.
I bet he's a big man, isn't he?
Yeah.
So what was your favorite match?
What was that?
What was your favorite match?
Of all time, that I watched?
No, that you've been in, that you've actually done.
That I've been in. Unfortunately, it's kind of controversial now, but at the time it was Chris Benoit.
Nice.
There are a few reasons behind that. One, he was considered one of the greatest wrestlers, to ever do it, and so the day of the show, it was at WWE, and we had the guys that were there to do jobs, wrestle against the stars, and I didn't have a match, so I was like, okay, got dressed back into my street clothes, was sitting at the monitor, was gonna watch the show, and Johnny Ace came up to me and he's like, "Hey Steve, can you work with Benoit?" I was, yeah, of course. He's like, "All right, you're on in 2 segments, meaning there's a match before you, and then you guys are on." So I was like, "Wait, what?" He's like, "Yeah, go. I'll send them to gorilla position to meet up with you." So I ran to the locker room. I got dressed as fast as I could, grabbed my boots, went to gorilla position, and started lacing up my boots. And that's when he came over, and he's like, "Okay, so it's me and you." Yeah, yes, all right. So it was like we didn't even have time to really discuss anything, and before they were telling me, "You got to get out to the ring, go."
Just call it in the ring.
We call it in the ring, and so for calling it in the ring and for it being a television match, it was exciting. And the best compliment I got was when he came through the curtain afterwards. He just gave me a big hug, and he's like, "You move fucking great," And Ricky Steamboat was our producer, so Steamboat came over. He's like, "Oh, thank you, that was perfect. That's exactly what we needed." And then he said the same thing, and POD will like this. Said the same thing that a lot of guys from that era would say to me when they found out who trained me. They'd be like, "Oh, there's no way Gator Wolf trained you." Because my trainer had this reputation of not being exactly the greatest wrestler.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So when I was wrestling guys,
what was the Mexican mask gimmick that he did? I keep trying to remember what that was called. I can't remember.
Oh, he called himself the Zodiac.
Zodiac.
He would wear this mask,
Said he was part of the NWO.
Yes, he would say he was part of the NWO. It was funny.
Oh gosh,
But
I miss that man.
But he would put that mask on and say, "No one will ever know it's me." But meanwhile, it's got a big open nose, right? And so you see his nose just sticking right out. It's like, that, we know who that is.
Gee, wonder who that is. Great.
I pulled up on fandom here. It's that Ghost Dancer.
Yes, sir.
Iceman.
Yep.
Jimmy Cruz.
That one, I don't know where that came from. I was never Jimmy Cruz, but the other ones are correct. Iceman was my first. Sean Dakota.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Navajo Kid.
Yes, sir.
I remember that one.
and then I got a little too old to be the kid, so that's when we went to Warrior. And, funny story about that with the way the name came up.
Let's take a quick commercial break for us.
All right.
But when we get back, let's continue the pro wrestling story. Because my goodness, what fun we can have with just that alone.
Yes,
my goodness, so you can go forever. So when we come back, more about Gator Wolf.
Got it.
All right, thank you.
Hey, wake up, world. It's time for a little bit of coffee.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is P.O.D. Join me along with my best friend, Mr. Phoenix, and our Little People co-host, DJ Pappy and Vinny MG, every Monday morning, 5 a.m. Pacific, 6 a.m. Central, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So grab your Joe and let's go.
All right, we're back. So Gator Wolf,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
my favorite Gator Wolf story in the world. I loved him, like I said, one of my many mentors too. I used to love having conversations with him on the phone. But my favorite Gator Wolf story, I don't remember what reservation we went to, but they had not promoted it well, and he had gotten really temperamental, and we all were trying to talk to him. He was just being very grouchy with all of us and hateful. And, you know, as a promoter, when you have a failing show, it just stinks. And the last thing you want is a smart aleck little person. Well, unfortunately, he had hired one of this particular tour. And you were standing there and you were talking to him, and he was at the back of the box track where the ring come out. And I went over and I put my hand on his shoulder, and there was 8 people in the crowd. And I said, Gator, I know how to make this a little bit better. And he says, how can we make this better? I said, I want you to go over there and I want you to open that door. I want you to look at your crowd, close the door, cross your eyes, and open the door again. I said, the crowd doubles. It'll make you feel a little better. And you look there, he's like, Chris?
He did not like that at all.
No, he did not like that at all. That was one time I really thought I was going to get beat up. Now, he was true Indian as well, correct?
Yes, it's Cherokee.
And
yes.
Now, that's one of my questions for you. Are you actual Navajo, or is it another?
No, I'm actually Tohono O'odham. Tohono O'odham, which is also known as Pima, and that's on my grandfather's side. So the way the Navajo Kid came to be was we would do the reservation tours on the Navajo reservation. So it was one of Gator's promotional ideas. It's like, oh, let's call him the Navajo Kid, and then the tribe basically took me in, and they were like, yeah, you're one of us, So that's how it came to be, So it was one of those deals where it's like, all right, well, we don't really have a Navajo wrestler, so let's bring him into the tribe. We'll make him the Navajo warrior, and we were off to the races.
That's really cool.
Help me to understand this one too. When we have done the reservations, I know you and I spoke about that Gator Wolf departing us, that they don't really get played that much anymore.
Right.
How does one go about that? Do you have to go in front of a council? I mean, how does that work, bud?
You don't need to go through the council. You can reach out to the individual areas. So let's say you want to be in there's a city called Pinyon, which is
My
on the
favorite. I
reservation.
remember
It
that.
was one of our best towns. We would always grow really
Locations,
well.
yeah.
So you would reach out and say, hey, we'd like to bring this. We'd reach out to like the school, the high school, kind of like set it up as a fundraiser so we could help raise money for the school, and then at the same time bring entertainment to the reservation. And so
they always loved it so much.
yeah, and so unfortunately, with my work schedule and with life, it's just hard to try to line up
Right.
a tour, because that takes up a lot of your time, and you're on the road for a week of the actual shows, but then promoting it, you'd have to go up there,
Absolutely.
get it going, because you can't just leave it to the town to promote it, because you see what happens. You end up with 8 people in the crowd because they don't really know what you're trying to promote. It's like, oh, it's wrestling, people will come, and then they put a poster up here, a poster up there. They think that like everyone's going to know about it, but you got to be like,
oh yeah, you got to put time into it. That we, as you said, this life it doesn't give you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Change gears on you a little. Let's
Yes,
talk
sir.
about your current career in the WWE, but not in the caliber you'd always hoped.
Yeah. So
how'd that
What
come
is
to?
that? Yeah,
So
tell me
what
more.
I do is I basically manage the licensing for WWE games for the WWE right now with 2K. So what I started when I started doing this into the video games with WWE was I was wrestling, in Arizona, and THQ at the time made the games. THQ was looking for wrestlers to do motion capture, which motion capture is where you wear the
Yeah.
suit and then you do the moves and it tracks it. They put it in the computer, and that's what they use in the game.
Yeah.
So that's how I started. I started doing motion capture for the video games, and which I thought was great. The
Video.
you're part of something that's cool. It's always going to be there now. So I was doing the motion capture, and then I started to kind of help with like direction, like, oh, well, if we do the move this way, it's going to look a little better than if we do it this other way, things like that. So then they asked me to start coming on as a consultant. So I started to do that. And then a couple years down the line, so 2008, I was approached by the gentleman that was doing what I do now, asking me if I'd be interested in doing what he does, because he wanted to move on to design and work on the design part of the game. So basically what I do is I gather assets that are needed for the game. For example, voiceover recordings. So when you play the game, you hear the commentary, you hear the ring announcers. A lot of the wrestlers have lines in the game. I schedule and manage all of the recordings. So
Wow.
commentary team, I'm working with the ring announcers, I'm working with the wrestlers on getting their voiceover recordings done. Scans. So when they create the model, you need to do the scans of the wrestlers, and so I schedule that and make sure that we get the scans done. That way everyone stays up to date. People, of course, everyone changes. Some guys get bigger, some people get smaller. We get new wrestlers. We get, and plus the technology is always evolving. So I handle that. We, doing the scans.
That's cool.
Reference photos, so that way the artist can recreate the wrestling gear that they're wearing. We try to keep it as up to date as possible, which everyone's always changing.
Right.
So
With
it's
collectors and all that.
So out there in that world, do you know my good buddy Jason Harding real well?
Oh, I know Jason. I love Jason. And honestly, I think because we try to, when we talked about it, I think the first time I met Jason was in
Through
Indiana wrestling. Through you, but it was on one of those Hoosier Pro Wrestling shows.
Oh my goodness, Hoosier Pro Wrestling.
Yeah,
oh my
and
goodness.
So I believe he was just started reffing when I wrestled there with them.
He had been ref because when you came to Indiana first time was with me, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now, well, he had been already reffing. He just wasn't that well known, But boy, you talk about a fighter. He is one of those guys. I love that kid to death. He worked with me for several years as my main referee, and I told him I wanted to bring him on the show, but he said with the new management
Mhm.
that they get a little sticky about it. That's okay. I got mad respect. Mad respect.
Right. Yeah.
So, but gosh, I hope he's watching. If he's not, you make sure you tell him to watch this on the pre-tape and tell him I
Oh
said
yeah,
hello.
I love Jason. He's always
So-
up to help. If I need anything, he's always like, "Do you need anything? You good?" You know, and like
Yeah.
anything I ever need, like he's willing to just step up and help me out as much
What
as he
an
can.
amazing guy. I wouldn't trade my time with him for nothing in the world.
Yeah.
Navajo, I've got a
Awesome.
question.
Yes, sir.
Are you gonna ever be in the video game?
So as the Easter eggs,
Whoa.
WWE 2K16. If you go back to 2K16, at the time, Mike Tyson was licensed to do the UFC game during that time. And we had Mike Tyson in our game because you played through Stone Cold Steve Austin's career, right? So when Mike Tyson was the special referee for the Austin Shawn Michaels match, we needed to recreate that, but we could not use Mike Tyson's likeness. So they scanned me, and I was Mike Tyson. so people will pull that up and go like, "Who's this guy?" What, you know? And they would call him like, you know, Mike Tyson, or you know, like different names. But that was me as that, and then also I'm one of those hidden referees in the game. So it is
cool.
when you get to choose a referee. There's but it's without the beard.
Old school Navajo.
Old school Navajo.
Well, let's take another commercial break. When we come back, then we get to talk about my favorite part of this whole interview, you and the strong man. What happened there? All right, let's take a quick break.
Rise and grind, it's that time. Morning sun, coffee chime. 3 small folks, 1 average bro. Tune in now, let's start the show. Tiny crew, big dreams, brewing thoughts, vivid schemes, sipping on that morning brew.
All right, we're back. All right, man. Now well, actually, I want to finish up on the WWE side of things. How did your family, like as in your parents and everything, when you first got into pro wrestling, pursuing WWE and the whole big pro wrestling game? Because like when I met you, I remember you had your shoot job back then, and shoot job for those that don't understand that, man, the regular 9 to 5. Also, when he said gorilla earlier, in case all of you were sitting there scratching your head wondering what gorilla is the backstage area directly before you go out the curtain.
Yeah, sorry, I throw some inside terms out there every now and then.
Yeah, got thrown in, and you don't even think about them when you're a worker, you know. I mean, you just like when you were saying it, I didn't even think about it for a minute, and then I thought, man, I can just hear it now. We're gonna get people going, what did he mean by he was in gorilla?
was there a gorilla back there?
But your
you could beat the gorilla, you could wrestle.
Yeah.
Your family being your direct family, because I know you have 3 daughters, a wife, but parents. You know, when you first started pursuing pro wrestling many years ago, like me, how did they feel about it? Did they support you, or like you're just out of your mind? Stop it.
Family was very supportive, especially my mother. She was all about it. She's like, you know, hey, if this is where your focus is, then you know, pedal to the metal, push it through. And so she was at a lot of my matches. You know, before she passed, she was there watching. You know, unfortunately, my grandfather was the one that was the first person that I watched wrestling with, and he passed before I could even start training. So when I would wrestle with some of the guys that were his favorites, you know, or the guys that he really despised, I was thought of him, you know, because I'm like, yeah, I'm wrestling Greg the Hammer Valentine, and he hated Greg the Hammer Valentine. So, you know, it was always like a fun thing. But yeah, the family was always supportive.
Nice.
You know, even to this day where it's like winding things down, my daughters get to watch, especially my youngest Keely. She, you know, it's new to her. Being 13, she didn't really get to see my stuff from back then because, you know, she wasn't born yet. And now that she gets to watch me, and but now we're winding it down, and we're gonna.
Is she the boxer?
She's the boxer, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those listening, yeah, he does have a bodyguard. I have seen a couple videos. She's undefeated, isn't she?
She has one loss, but she's doing well. She's doing really good.
Yeah. I remember I've seen a few videos because, yeah, I'm a stalker on your page, man. And wow, and your wife, she pro wrestles a little.
Yes. She. That's how we met through wrestling, and then. But yeah, she's still wrestling. She's going to get ready to wrap up as well. But she's like,
nice.
I don't want to take it away from yours.
Any of the three girls have any interest?
Stevie would do a little training, and then just recently she realized she's like, I don't know if being in the ring part's for me. But what she's been doing is she's a school teacher. But what she's been doing is whenever WWE would be in town, she would go and work with the TV production team. So some of the cool segments that you would see, like on a Monday Night Raw, if they're from Phoenix, or SmackDown if they're in Phoenix, she's back there helping them shoot those backstage vignettes. So she's learning all the ins and outs of how
let
it works.
her know that we would love to have her on board with us. Just come on over, help us out here in the podcast. So no, you don't see her ever doing any ring in ring.
No, you never know, but I don't think so. I think she's happy with what she's doing.
My son Dakota was. My son Dakota, he did it for a couple of years, and then he just come to me and he was just like, yeah, it was fun to watch it as I grew up with. Tried it out, but yeah, I think he just was like, those days are over. I don't want it anymore. I want them.
Well, being in, it takes it. There's something wrong with us, when we do this.
If I had to do all over again, especially some of those hardcore matches. Next week we're gonna have Madman Pondo as our primary guest, and I don't understand how he can be still doing this. But those kind of matches, and they're just regular matches. People are always like, "Oh, it's this and this and that." Go do it.
Yeah, it definitely takes a toll. It takes a toll on the body.
It takes a toll quick. Yeah. The Strong Man. Let's talk about Strong Man a little bit. My favorite part that I wanted to talk about today. What made you just decide one day I'm going to take it from pro wrestling to strong, which is a humongous difference, and into strongman? I mean, that is just wow.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting story. I was working out with my buddy Derek. We were, just training, working out, and COVID hits. The gyms start closing. We're trying to find a place to work out now. Our gym closed, so now we go on to the next place and try to work out there. Then we're there for a couple of weeks. That gym closes. Then we try to find another one. And then eventually, he said, "Hey, I have a buddy who's got a gym at his house. He said we can come train at his place." So that's where we started working out. And his buddy's name's Marshall Zinn, and Marshall is a professional strongman. So when I'm there training, we would see the Atlas stones, we would see the log press, we would see all the different strongman equipment. And I would always ask, "Well, what is that? What is that?" And so Marshall invited us to pull a truck one day. He's like, "Hey, we're going to be doing a truck pull." And then that's what kind of hooked me on the strongman training. Is I got harnessed up to a truck, and he taught me how to do it, and then it got me interested. So we went to watch Marshall compete. Michelle, my wife, and I went to watch Marshall compete, and just seeing the events was crazy, because we would watch it on television, and it was kind of like a Sunday thing where we would have strongman on while we would clean house, and then seeing it in person, it's like, oh man, that's intense, And so we're driving home, and she looks over at me and she's like, "What'd you think?" I was like, "Oh, that's cool." She's like, "Did you ever think about?" And before she could even finish the sentence, I'm like, "Nope." She's like, "Why not?" Because you see what they're doing, I mean, to me, it seemed like a almost impossible feat for myself to do. And she said, no, you should give it a try. I'm like, "No, absolutely not." And then fast forward a couple months, and Marshall's going to run an event. So he's like, you're going to do it. And then it just went from there. Once I did my first competition, I was hooked. I was hooked. I was like, I'm pretty decent at this, you know? And then, so you train to get better and better. And then next thing you know, this is going to be my 5th year in.
Goodness sake.
Yeah. So I'm master's division, of course, you know, thankfully they break it down to where it's like, you know, you have your over 40 division and you have your over 50 division. But the athletes are still amazing because a lot of the guys that I compete with are former world's strongest men, you know? So it's like, you know, guys that hold world records like Mark Felix and Nick Best, you know, guys that I would watch compete. Now I'm in there competing against them. So it's been pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
When you say about the log, you're talking about that big, humongous tube that you put your arms into?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking? Oh my goodness.
Yes.
When I watch you do that, I've watched you do that on a few occasions online. Bruh, you scared the tar out of me because you can tell when you get it right to that certain point, watching you do it. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I watch you get it to that certain point, and it's just there's that struggle part, you know. And then once you get it over that little hump, at least that's what it appeared. Once you get over that hump, then the rest is boom, 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 you know, and let it down.
Yeah.
And pretty correct. There's that.
Oh yeah, I mean that's
more about your head that you're really having to struggle.
Oh, that's impressive, Navajo.
Yeah, once you it's called the clean, right, where you're bringing it up and then you're bringing it up under your chest. Now you just have all that weight sitting right here on your chest, and then you got to press it up. So yeah, that's you're feeling, you know, depending on the last event I did, last competition I did, it was 280 pounds. You know, that was sitting right here, you know. So then you press it up, you know. Yeah.
Oh no, that's incredible.
No, thank you.
Wow. That's tell us some other ones like the fire truck. I saw the fire truck.
So
yeah, I saw the video of the fire truck. Yeah.
My favorite event is a truck pull, you know, and that's so at the USS Worlds, which I ended up winning. So I'm technically a world's strongest man in the Masters division. So
congratulations, sir.
Thank you. And so the truck pull is, you'll have the harness, it's attached to the truck, and then there are 2 different ways you can do it. You can use a lead rope where you have a rope that you can use to help, you know, you're guiding yourself forward with it. Mm-hmm. And when I did the fire truck, they took the lead rope away, and so you got to get that truck moving yourself. So you get kind of in a bear crawl position and just start going. And once you feel that truck start to move, then you can start to run with it as you can, you know, as best you can.
So do they put it in neutral?
Yeah, it's in neutral, but it's still, you know, a couple tons, you know, of 12 tons. I believe the fire truck was 12 tons.
I think.
So,
I can just imagine them trying to step on the brake and you pulling it. That would
it messed them up.
Navajo, is it full of water or is it empty?
On this one, it was empty.
That's still heavy. I mean, yeah,
it is. Oh yeah, it's extremely heavy.
I was a volunteer fireman for many years, and I understand just how heavy those trucks are, and I can't even imagine trying to pull that.
Yeah, it was.
Congrats to you.
Thank you. But yeah, okay, so my favorite event is that truck.
All right, so we got to get POD. We got to get POD to pull a fire truck.
Yeah, there you go.
You better be a toy one.
I was gonna get one of those
like Matchbox or something.
Get him a fire truck.
Pull some shopping carts or something like that. Yeah.
Get him one of those little tyke ones. Get him one of those little plastic tyke fire trucks and have him pull that.
A little Tonka toy.
That's all. I'm in then. I'm in. Now, you got the Tonka one. I am in. So you know,
yes, sir.
Do you still got time to kick it with us for a little while longer?
I sure
do.
Yes, I do.
I want to take one last break, and then out of this, one last break before we wrap up completely with you, and then on this next round, let's talk just some old fun wrestling talk. You know, some of our favorite people that have been around. Let's just tell a couple stories, shall we?
Let's do it.
All right, break a commercial for us, bud.
Hi, this is DJ Pappy of Michael Brothers United to tell you about our new morning show coming to you every Monday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Central Time, to bring you the best of the best chit-chat over coffee. You can come talk to us. We'll talk with you. And we just want to have a little bit of fun over a little bit of coffee. So join us, won't you?
That's right. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And please.
That's right, man. We want you right here. We want you on Mondays with us.
Oh,
We want to build this up. All right.
Right there.
All right, Navajo. What's one of your funniest? Doesn't have to involve me, of course. This can just be an anybody thing.
Oh, just gotta look at you.
But what's your funniest pro wrestling story you can think of to tell us?
All right, I'm gonna PG the story, but I believe you were there because we were, but you weren't in the room. I think you were one of the ones that left the room when things started to go down. But we were in, I think, Zanesville, Ohio, one of the Ohio towns, working for Jerry Gray. And so on these shows, you had a lot of the stars from the late 80s, early 90s. You had the Bushwhackers, you had Honky Tonk Man, Jake the Snake Roberts, guys like that. Well, we're in the locker room, and Jake, during this time, was not in the best shape. Like, he was really into drugs and drinking. So anyway, Jake was in the back and kind of half passed out, and he had the tub with the snake in it. And there was a wrestler went by Lord Zoltan. Lord Zoltan came to the back with his children, and his children were, all the guys were taking pictures with the kids. You want to take pictures with the wrestlers, and then I believe that the children are deaf. So
yes, they are.
Their dad's signing to them that there's a snake in the tub, right? So the kids are scared. They're like, we don't want anything to do with that snake. Jake comes to, sees them. He's like, oh, hey, you want a picture with the snake? And Jake's like, and the kids are, no. They're just like, no, we don't. Jake then doesn't care, right? He reaches, he's going to grab that snake. The snake bites Jake, and so Jake, of course, now starts to just do things to this snake that he should not be beating on the snake.
I do remember this.
So of course they get the kids out, get the kids out of the room. And all of a sudden Jake's, now he's mad. Now he's breaking lights. He's, just going insane. So Jerry comes in, the promoter comes in and just bear hugs him and puts him against the wall. And guys start leaving the room, and I get up. No, I'm still in there watching. I'm sitting with Honky Tonk Man next to me. And all of a sudden, Jake's just belligerent. I love you, Jerry. I'll show you how I love you more than God. I'll show you how much I love you. I respect you. And Jake now all of a sudden starts to pull his pants down, grabs a beer bottle, and starts to urinate in this bottle.
Oh my goodness.
I'm like, now I try to get up out of my chair, and I Honky Tonk Man's hand up. You're gonna stay for the floor? You staying for the floor show, kid? Like, I'm stuck now. Now I can't go. And so he's like, I'm gonna drink this to show you how much I respect you. And Honky's like, don't do it, Jake. And Jake starts to do that, and I'm just like, this is ridiculous, And that was one of the worst but funniest experiences I've had, where it's just ridiculous, like something you think would never happen. And it was happening, and I'm trying to get away, and they're like, "No, stay here."
Is there anybody that you never got to wrestle? Is there anybody that you really wish you got to wrestle?
Yeah, the guys that I grew up watching, but when I started getting in, they were on their way out. But luckily I got to wrestle a lot of them. But yeah, to me it would be like Hulk Hogan to honestly, if I could have wrestled him, just to feel that energy that he had with that crowd, being in there. But I've wrestled a lot of the greats. I mean, even like up to now, like John Cena, who's going on his retirement now, as well. And so, I've been through generations, of wrestlers that it's pretty cool. It's been really awesome.
I have a question that just came to me. Was there at any point after you felt your training was complete, okay, I'm a pro wrestler now, that you got in the ring with someone and you just felt like so no, like, oh my God, why am I in here? You know,
my very first match. My very first match. I thought like, oh, I know what I'm doing.
Right.
Whew, yeah, it was bad. Where to the point where the referee is telling us what to do, and so he keeps telling me, I'm getting kicked in the arm, or no, kicked in the chest, stomped in the chest, and I'm just laying there on the ground. I'm not moving. I'm just like a dead fish.
Yes, sir.
And so he's kicking me, and the referee leans down. He says, "Sell your chest." Now, I don't know what that means. I've never heard that before, and it's a basic wrestling term. So here I am going, okay, and so I start to like puff up my chest, like I'm selling my chest, He's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" I don't know. So to those that don't know, sell means to register something. Like, so if you're getting kicked in the chest, you want the people to realize that it hurts, and so instead of just laying there dead, so yeah, first match, I'm already like behind the 8 ball because I didn't know basic terminology or what I was really supposed to be doing.
Who was that against?
His name was John Ringer, Outlaw John Ringer. He was a guy that was big in the 70s in the Arizona territory, and he was just one of the guys that Gator Wolf was like, I think he could lead you through a good match. And
I always forget, and I enjoyed him thoroughly too. There was a gentleman that used to wear a doink mask on the reservation tours with us. What was that gentleman's name?
Lee. That was Lee Pasco. Yep. He was one of my good friends, and I trained him. And then
how's he doing?
He's great. Married, just his son is a phlebotomist, and grown full. To me, he's still a little boy, but he's a grown man,
Yeah,
but
right.
Lee's doing great though.
When we're talking about funny pro wrestling stories, he is probably one of my funniest. Now, it wasn't funny then. I pray that you make sure he sees this episode so he remembers this. But we were doing a Gator Wolf show, and he had always carried that rubber chicken. And one of the micros had something came up, and he wasn't going to be able to make this particular show. So Gator gets this idea that I'm going to wrestle this doink, being Lee. Now, Lee, pretty small build anyway, all in all, compared to most wrestlers back in them days. And so it wasn't real far off, And he tells me the spot that I'm going to be leaning across the ring, and he's going to hit me and spot me in part of the match. And he's going to hit me with the rubber chicken. And in your mind, how bad can a rubber chicken hurt? Well, when he's swinging it with everything he's got, it'll mess you up. And oh my goodness, he beat the living snot out of that rubber chicken out there. And I finally had won the match. They put me over, and my goodness, we got in the back. We had to wrestle the next day. I said, there is no way I am wrestling him again. I mean, he's bringing the chicken.
That chicken left plenty of welts on my body too.
Man, and he would swing it so.
He would swing it.
It'd be like a whip. That's one of my funniest wrestling stories.
Oh my gosh.
And of course, now we must tell the funniest of the funniest Navajo POD story together and my chat. Navajo had never been east of Texas, as I remember.
Yeah, at that time. Yeah.
And at that point in his career, he was up and coming. In fact, just to throw a little blip in there for my mother, I think my mother even made him a couple of his Indian headbands when he was going more of the old school headdress type Indian look. And my mother had made him a few of the headbands that he wore back then. Well, he had talked to me on many occasions because we became really good pals when I went out west. And so we would talk on the phone frequently. And I wanted to get him east of Texas finally. So we had set up this miniature tour in Indiana. Maybe that was even a Jerry Gray thing. I don't completely remember. I know I did a couple shows on there that we did. And then we had a couple other shows that we were on at least. And so he got to come east. One thing we talked about on many occasions, and I hope every one of you laugh when I say this. He had never tried the world famous White Castle, and he couldn't. He wanted one so bad, and so we decided one day we were going out to meet with the veterans and shake some hands, take some pictures. We decided we were going to stop and get a case of White Castles so Steve could try the ever famous steamed White Castle burger. And so we get done with our wrestling promotion stuff one morning and go and get us a couple cases of them. And if any of you have eaten these little miniature burgers, they absolutely make you feel like 1,000,000 pounds when you're done. And
I never had any problem with them.
Well, you're one of only. And so we had eaten these and gotten back to my house, and I decided I was going to lay down for a nap. Steve decided it was time for him to die. And so I went in and laid down for a nap, and I keep hearing this noise about a half hour, an hour later. So I get up, and Steve's laying on the floor, and he goes, "Oh, I'm never, ever eating those again. I am never, ever eating those again." And what makes the story even funnier is catching up to him now. I had asked him the other day when I had asked him to be on the show, I said, "So how many of them have you eaten since then?" What was that answer, Steve?
Zero.
Zero.
Oh, when they said they were opening a White Castle out here in Arizona, I was like, "You keep that away from me." Just the build-up was so good. It was like, "Oh, these are the best," and you can't just have one. You got to get a bunch of them. And I'm like, "All right, let's order them." And then
they're delicious. They are delicious. But what they do to you just aren't.
Yeah, they destroy you.
They
they call them sliders for a reason.
Yeah, they don't slide in, but they definitely slide out.
Oh, yes. And notice how when everybody said that they say kind of slow, you slide out. Oh man, those things. Not long ago, it reminds me a lot of like these weird sandwiches that you hear about. But not long ago, I went and got a case because I forget. You get a crave case. So I got a crave case for the family. Now, what is so common, I hope he's watching, my brother Derek, it's like he always does, man, I ain't doing that. I bring him, hey, we got White Castle, keep them. I'm like, they're delicious. And it's like, I don't know why, but I think I have a little mental issue when it comes to them because I forget what they do to you. So I'll sit and I'll chow down on them again. Within about a half hour to an hour, I'm remembering. Like we were going to discuss weird sandwiches today too. The McRib.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I want to know what part of that cow is the McRib.
Oh man, you put some bacon and cheese on that McRib, it's yummy.
You like the McRib?
I've never tried it.
I love the McRib.
I don't.
I'm okay
I think
with
you'll
it,
be
but
disappointed, Navajo.
I think I've had two my whole life, and I'm just like, eh.
Now, see, I'm a little different. I every year they promote it, and I get like, wow, I don't know why. I make myself believe it's going to taste good this year.
Right.
And so I go buy one. Remember a couple weeks ago, Dennis, you and I were on FaceTime chat, and I went and bought one, convinced myself this is the year.
I was there with you. Yeah, I was there with you when you opened it up.
What was it? 2 bites? I forgot about 2 bites in.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's a waste.
You guys remember
Big Mac any day?
You guys remember the McChatter?
Yeah.
Hey, the McChatter, man. Now, see, I love those.
Absolutely
love those.
I'm an absolute Big Mac guy. I love Big Macs.
Double quarter pounder.
I like the new Big Mac that they came out with the chicken. That was really good.
Yeah. I look at Steve. Steve's like, you fatsos. I can't touch none of that. I know that's what he's sitting there thinking.
I'm not overweight.
I wish I could have some McDonald's, but
I'm not overweight.
It's on the do not have list.
Navajo, I'm not overweight. I'm just under tall for my weight.
What is the most exotic thing you can eat now as a strongman competitor?
Oh, diet-wise, it's pretty much anything. It's just that my preference of my wife is like McDonald's is the establishment. We do not have the establishment. We do not speak of the establishment. Ever since she watched the documentary, I can't remember what it was called, but it was the one on McDonald's and how
I know the one you're talking about.
So yeah,
you are what you eat, or whatever that was.
So she was like, "These people are evil. The guys that took over from the original."
So your wife is the anti-McDonald one?
Yes.
Oh, and what is her name? I forget. I'm sorry.
Michelle.
Michelle.
Yeah.
I feel you, because I wish I could be McDonald's free. Maybe it's a drug.
Something in it.
Yeah, my favorite of the fast food is Taco Bell.
No, boo, boo.
You're a glutton for punishment.
That's terrible.
Yeah, these guys are out of here next week.
Del Taco's better. Del Taco.
All right, what's your favorite?
Del Taco, yes.
That's a blast from the past. We still have one in Gainesville.
Nice.
So Navajo, what's your favorite fast food? No, we're on the go. Got to stop and grab something real quick. What you got?
Normally we'll hit like an In-N-Out burger.
In-N-Out.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
That is a good one.
Yeah, it is
a real good one.
You know,
we're actually going to be getting one here in Florida, up in Tampa area.
All right.
My go-to is Jersey Mike's.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
I haven't tried that one.
I haven't either.
Oh, that's great.
When Navajo just said the In-N-Out, there's a good chance my little sister's listening, and it reminded me of a quick funny story I'll share with you. My little sister doesn't think about what she's saying sometimes. God love her, you know. And one day she's talking to me on the phone, and I'm going to tell you the exact statement she said. Now, before I tell you what the statement was, I was unaware of this establishment. She says to me, "Hey, Bob, what's up? You ever had Five Guys?" I just sat there quiet. I'm not sure what you mean by this, but no matter what you follow this up with, the answer is no. And so she explains it's a hamburger joint. Okay, because that is kind of scared me there for a minute. So then months go by, okay? And she called me. We're talking on another phone call. And she says to me, "Hey, Bob." I said, "What?" She goes, "You ever seen Seven Little Johnsons?" What is wrong with you? And again, never even heard of the program up to that point. And she starts the conversation. "You ever seen Seven Little Johnsons?" Doesn't matter where we go with this, the answer is still no. Yeah, man, what a pleasure having you and hanging out with you today, man.
Yes, it was.
Oh, thank you. It's my pleasure.
We got to just talk about, one of the things that I want out of this show is I want people to, there's so much negative energy out there anymore, man. And it's so political, and you're scared to have a conversation anymore and just have some fun. And the thing that I want out of the podcast the most is believe in yourself again. And you are definitely a living example of, because I remember meeting you in the younger Navajo days, and you had the dream just like anybody else, man. You were going to make it to the top. And I love actually talking about that you got to the WWE. And maybe it wasn't the exact caliber you'd hope, but it still went a different route that made your career wonderful,
Right.
Being part of the video game was amazing. That is awesome. I look up to you, man. That's awesome.
And he got to wrestle dark matches on many, many occasions, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that is cool.
Dark matches being off TV. I'm sure. Didn't you even do some jobs on TV a few times?
Yeah.
Job being took the loss. Oh gosh, I gotta think about wrestling lingo, man. I don't think about that. He took the loss. But yeah, that was the Sean Dakota days.
Yes, sir, Sean Dakota.
I remember seeing you showing me a couple of those. But watching your career grow, what I hope anyone and everyone gets out of this is that the belief and anything can be done. You know, in my entertainment career, I think personally, we were talking about your greatest match, who you felt like you sucked against. Mine was, and I know you're going to remember the time you put me against the late great beautiful Bobby.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. I walked into that match thinking I was a phenomenal wrestler, and I walked out of that match feeling like, if somebody could wad me up and throw me in the trash, I'd sure appreciate it. You know, I mean, my goodness, Lord Littlebrook, the late great, being Bobby, beautiful Bobby's father. That family, you cannot describe how great a wrestlers they were and are. You know, Little Cato, true legends. They are all just true legends. Today, I even often tell people I think I stunk as a pro wrestler. I think I was a great entertainer. I covered up my stinky pro wrestling with my entertainment skills. You know, I mean, but that family, my goodness, they. I remember you even telling me these boys can wrestle.
Yeah, and now they're Bobby's daughter and one of Bobby's sons and one of Bobby's daughters are carrying it on.
Yeah, they're tearing it up, ain't they?
Yeah, they are.
They're tearing up the circuit. And yeah, if you gentlemen ever get to look up the Tovey family, Tovey. Oh my goodness, are those all great?
Yes, sir.
So, well, I think we're going to wrap up today's show and lead into a Pappy's Life lesson. But Navajo, my friend, I can't wait to actually see you in person again, man.
Hey, I can't wait. Thank you guys so much for everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for allowing me to be able to talk to you, Navajo.
Thank you guys.
It was a pleasure.
It was my pleasure.
Take everybody off the screen. Let Pappy wrap it up with a nice little life lesson.
Well, everybody, what a great show. I just wanted to say that I enjoyed everybody coming on for our very premiere episode of A Little Bit of Coffee. I hope you enjoyed it. We got a little ways to go still, but we have a little rough edges. But hey, this is our first show. And, I think we did okay. One of the things we did learn in this lesson for our first show is we had Navajo on with us, and he told us about his great career. And from that, if you work hard, you go after your dreams. One of the things you don't do is you don't count that crowd. But I just want to congratulate Navajo on what a great career that he had, and I hope he has a great retirement. And just hope that you all out in life find what your dream is, be it in the ring, be it outside the ring, be it in the office, outside the office, wherever you call your work, your home, your world. Find your dream and live it. You too can get yourself to a point in retirement one day where you're going to have just wonderful, wonderful days ahead. So find your dream in the ring. Keep fighting and you'll get there. And I thank you and God bless. Thank you for watching our first show, and we'll be back again. Won't you take care, everybody?